The sun was warm that day. I walked into the campus library, books in my arms. It was quiet. Only the soft sound of pages turning and keyboards tapping. I wanted a corner seat. A place where no one would disturb me. My exams were near. I felt stressed. As I moved between the shelves, I saw him. He was sitting near the window. Light fell across his face. His head was slightly tilted. He was focused on a book. At first, I only noticed his calm expression. Then I noticed something else. A wheelchair. My steps slowed. I didn't expect that. I don't know why, but my heart skipped a beat. He was handsome in a quiet way. Dark hair. Sharp jawline. But it wasn't just his looks. It was the way he looked at the book. As if the whole world had paused. And only those pages mattered. I pretended to look for a book on the same shelf. But I was stealing glances. He didn't notice me. Or maybe he did. I couldn't tell. For some reason, I wanted him to look at me. I wanted him to lift his eyes. To notice me standing there. And then, he did. Our eyes met. It lasted only a second. But that second felt long. Like time had stretched. He gave me a small, polite smile. Not too much. Just enough. And I smiled back, nervously. I walked past him and sat at a table nearby. My heart was racing. Why? He was just a stranger. I didn't even know his name. But something inside me whispered. This moment matters. I opened my book. But I couldn't read. My eyes kept drifting back to him. Sometimes he was writing notes. Sometimes he was staring outside. Sometimes he adjusted the wheels of his chair. I wondered about him. Was he always like this? Was he born with it? Or did something happen? I scolded myself. Why was I so curious? Why did I care? But the truth was, I cared. I didn't know why, but I did. At one point, he dropped his pen. It rolled under the table. He leaned forward, trying to get it. But it was just out of reach. Before I could think, I stood up. I walked over, picked up the pen, and handed it to him. He looked up at me again. Those eyes. Dark, calm, deep. I almost forgot to breathe. Thanks, he said softly. His voice was gentle. Warm. It made me want to hear more. You're welcome, I replied, smiling. My voice shook a little. He studied me for a second. Then he nodded, almost shyly. And went back to his book. I walked back to my seat. But something had changed. The distance between us felt smaller. Even though we hadn't really talked. I felt connected to him. The hours passed. People came and left the library. But he stayed. And so did I. Sometimes I pretended to study. But really, I was aware of every small movement he made. The way he tapped his fingers when he thought. The way he leaned his cheek on his hand. The way he adjusted his chair with such ease. Like it was part of him. And every time our eyes accidentally met, I felt a spark. When he finally closed his book and packed his things, my heart sank. I didn't want him to leave. Not yet. He wheeled himself toward the exit. I watched him. I wanted to say something. Anything. But my mouth stayed shut. At the door, he paused. He looked back. Our eyes met one last time. That small smile returned. And then, he was gone. I sat there for a long time after. My book lay open, unread. My heart was full of questions. Who was he? What was his name? Would I ever see him again? A part of me whispered. Yes, you will. That night, lying in bed, I thought about him again. The way the sunlight touched his face. The way his voice sounded when he said thanks. The way his eyes lingered for a moment too long. I hugged my pillow and closed my eyes. I didn't know why I felt this way. But I knew something important had begun. And deep down, I hoped that this wasn't the last time our paths would cross. The first glance. It was small. It was simple. But sometimes, the smallest things change everything. And that day, in the quiet library, my life quietly shifted. Because I saw him. And he saw me. Even if it was only for a moment. It was enough. The next week, I couldn't stop thinking about him. The boy in the wheelchair. The stranger with kind eyes. I went back to the library, hoping to see him. But he wasn't there. His seat near the window was empty. I sat anyway. Opened my notebook. Tried to focus. But my heart kept whispering. Where is he? Day after day, I returned. Some days I saw him. Some days I didn't. And every time he wasn't there, I felt a small ache inside me. One afternoon, fate decided to be kind. I was walking out of the coffee shop near campus. The door was heavy. I pushed it open, balancing my drink. And then, I saw him. He was just outside. Wheeling toward the entrance. Our eyes met again. That same spark. That same pause. Hi, I said quickly, before I lost courage. He stopped. For a moment, he looked surprised. Then he smiled. Hi. I held the door for him. He rolled inside with a nod. Thanks, he said again. We stood awkwardly near the counter. He was about to order. I didn't want to leave. But I didn't know what to say. So I blurted out. You like coffee? The second the words left my mouth, I regretted it. Of course, he liked coffee. We were in a coffee shop. But instead of laughing, he nodded. Yeah. I like it strong. Something loosened in me. I smiled. Same. He tilted his head, studying me. You were in the library, right? My heart jumped. He remembered. Yes, I said softly. I saw you there. His lips curved again. That small, careful smile. I saw you too. We ended up sitting together at a table. Two strangers, two coffees. And a strange sense of ease. My name's Daniel, he said, reaching out his hand. I shook it. Emily. And just like that, we weren't strangers anymore. We talked. Not about big things. Not about heavy things. Just small, simple things. Classes. Books. Favorite movies. How bad the coffee shop muffins tasted. But every word felt like a thread. And slowly, those threads were weaving something between us. At one point, I asked, carefully. Do you come here often? He chuckled. Not a pickup line, right? I laughed, blushing. No. Just curious. Sometimes, he admitted. Mostly I like the library. It's quiet there. I nodded. I like the library too. Silence settled for a moment. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was soft. Almost gentle. As we finished our drinks, he checked his watch. I should go. I have physio. I hesitated. I wanted to ask more. To keep him there. But instead, I just nodded. Okay. He rolled toward the door. But before leaving, he turned. See you around, Emily? My heart lifted. Yes. Definitely. And then, he was gone. That night, I couldn't stop smiling. We had talked. We had laughed. He remembered me. It wasn't much. But it was enough to give me hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something more. After our coffee shop meeting, things began to change. I started seeing Daniel more often. Sometimes in the library. Sometimes near the cafe. Sometimes just passing by. And each time, we stopped. We talked. A little longer than before. One afternoon, the library was crowded. No empty tables. I spotted him near the window again. He looked up and gestured. Want to sit? I nodded, heart racing. And sat beside him. For the first time, we studied together. 2 open books. 2 pens scratching notes. 2 quiet smiles. Every so often, I'd glance at him. Sometimes, he caught me looking. And when our eyes met, I'd quickly look away, blushing. But Daniel didn't tease me. He just smiled softly. Like he understood. After an hour, I closed my book. My mind wasn't on the words. It was on him. I gathered my courage. Can I ask you something? He looked up. Sure. Your chair. I mean. I hesitated. I didn't want to hurt him. But Daniel didn't look upset. He leaned back. Accident, he said simply. 2 years ago. Car crash. My chest tightened. I'm sorry. He shrugged. Don't be. I survived. That's what matters. I stared at him. At the strength in his voice. At the calm in his eyes. Most people would have broken. But Daniel. He had learned to stand tall. Even without standing. You're brave, I whispered. He chuckled lightly. Not really. Just stubborn. But I shook my head. No. You're strong. Stronger than most. For a second, he looked at me differently. Not like a classmate. Not like a stranger. But like someone who saw him. Really saw him. Thanks, Emily, he said quietly. And his voice carried something unspoken. That day, we talked more. Not just about classes. But about life. His therapy. My dreams. Our fears. He told me how some people treated him differently. How some looked at the chair before looking at him. How some walked away. I listened. My heart aching. And then I said. I don't care about the chair. I care about you. He froze. His eyes softened. Almost shining. In that silence, I knew something had changed. Our first real conversation. The one that mattered. The one that built a bridge. And from that day forward, we weren't just 2 people who met by chance. We were 2 souls. Slowly moving closer. Days turned into weeks. And with each week, Daniel and I grew closer. It was no longer just chance meetings. We started planning them. Library at 4? Coffee tomorrow? Want to study together? And every time he asked, my heart leaped. Because every time I wanted to say yes. One Friday, he surprised me. Do you want to come with me? He asked. Where? Park. By the lake. It's quiet there. I hesitated. Not because I didn't want to go. But because I did. Too much. Sure, I said finally, hiding my smile. The park was beautiful. The trees painted gold by the sunset. The water shimmering softly. Daniel wheeled along the path. I walked beside him. It felt natural. We talked about everything. Favorite songs. Childhood memories. Dreams we didn't tell anyone else. I used to play basketball, he said suddenly. His eyes watching the fading sky. I loved it. I thought, maybe I'd play forever. I looked at him. And for the first time I saw sadness. The kind that hides deep, waiting for a quiet moment to rise. I touched his hand gently. I'm sorry. He looked down at my hand. Then back at me. And he smiled. Don't be. Life changed. But I'm still here. His strength amazed me. The way he carried pain without letting it break him. The way he found light, even in the dark. As we reached the lake, he stopped. Can I tell you something? Of course. He hesitated. Then said softly. You're different. Different how? I asked, heart pounding. Most people don't see me. They see the chair. But you look at me. Like I'm just, me. My throat tightened. Because I did. I saw him. Not the chair. Not the accident. Him. I like you, Daniel, I whispered. He looked at me for a long moment. And then, he smiled. A real smile. One that reached his eyes. I like you too, Emily. That night, walking home. I replayed his words again and again. He liked me. I liked him. It was simple. But it felt like the start of something beautiful. After that evening at the lake, everything between us changed. Our laughter was louder. Our silences were softer. Our eyes met longer. It wasn't just friendship anymore. It was more. Even if neither of us had said the word. One afternoon, we sat in the library. Books open. But neither of us was reading. I found myself watching him. The way he pushed his hair back. The way his brow furrowed when he concentrated. The way he smiled when he caught me staring. What? He asked playfully. Nothing, I said, blushing. He tilted his head. You're staring. I laughed nervously. Maybe I like what I see. The words slipped out before I could stop them. And instantly, I felt heat rush to my cheeks. Daniel's eyes widened. Then he grinned. Good. Because I like what I see too. Our conversations grew deeper. He told me about the night of the accident. The rain. The crash. The silence that followed. And then the months of hospital walls. The endless pain. The fear of being forgotten. I listened, my heart aching for him. I reached for his hand. Held it tight. I'm here now, I whispered. You're not alone. His eyes softened. And in that moment, I felt something shift. A bond stronger than before. But love is never simple. One evening, as we left the cafe, a group of guys laughed as Daniel rolled past. One whispered something cruel. I froze. My fists clenched. But Daniel kept moving. Daniel, I started. He shook his head. Don't. Not worth it. But they. Let it go, he said firmly. I wanted to scream at those boys. But Daniel's calm silenced me. He was used to it. He had faced this before. Later, when we sat under the stars, I whispered. I hate how people treat you. He looked at me gently. Emily, don't waste your heart on their ignorance. It doesn't matter what they see. What matters is what you see. I swallowed hard. And then, softly, I said. I see someone amazing. For a long moment, he just stared at me. Then, slowly, he reached out. His fingers brushed mine. And for the first time, he held my hand. The world faded around us. The stars. The night. The noise. It was just us. Two hearts. Two hands. One beginning. The days grew brighter. Not because of the sun. But because of Daniel. Every morning, I woke up excited. A text from him. A plan to meet. A reason to smile. But not everyone understood. One Saturday, I met my friends for coffee. We laughed, we talked. But the moment I mentioned Daniel, the air shifted. "Wait," one of them said. "He's in a wheelchair, right?" I nodded. Proudly. They exchanged looks. Pitying looks. Confused looks. "Emily," another whispered. "Don't you think it's going to be hard?" My chest tightened. Hard? You know, dating someone like that. It's complicated. I stared at them, speechless. I wanted to scream. To shake them. Instead, I whispered. "He's more than a chair. He's more than what you see." But their silence told me enough. They didn't understand. Maybe they never would. That evening, when I met Daniel, I couldn't stop thinking about it. He noticed. Of course he did. "You're quiet," he said gently. I sighed. People can be so cruel. Even without meaning to. His eyes softened. "You told your friends?" "Yes. And they don't get it." Daniel leaned back. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said softly, "Emily, you don't have to defend me. Not to them. Not to anyone. But I want to," I whispered. He smiled, though his eyes carried sadness. "I've spent years proving myself to the world. It's exhausting. I don't want you to feel that too." I reached for his hand. "I don't care what they think. I care what I feel." And what I felt was clear. Love. Deep, undeniable love. Later that night, we sat by the lake again. The same spot where we first admitted our feelings. The stars shimmered. The water reflected the moon. And I turned to him. "Daniel, I don't care about the world. I care about us. About you. About me." He stared at me. His jaw tightened. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Emily, what if I fall in love with you?" My breath caught. The world stilled. I whispered back, "Then I'll catch you." For the first time, Daniel didn't hold back. He leaned closer. His forehead touched mine. And in that quiet, our hearts spoke louder than words ever could. The air felt different that night. Heavy. Electric. Like the world knew something was about to change. Daniel and I sat close. Too close. Our hands brushing. Our hearts racing. He looked at me. His eyes searching mine. "Emily," he whispered. "You've changed my world." I swallowed hard. My chest tightened. "And you've changed mine." Silence. Not the awkward kind. The kind that feels full. Full of things unspoken. Finally, he spoke. "I never thought I'd feel this again. After the accident, I thought love. It wasn't for me anymore." I shook my head fiercely. "Don't say that." "It's true," he said softly. "People see the chair before they see me. They don't want this life. This struggle." His voice cracked. And I thought, no one ever would. Tears filled my eyes. Because I saw his pain. The years of rejection. The quiet loneliness. I reached for his face. My hand trembling. "Daniel, I see you. Not the chair. Not the struggle. You." His breath hitched. For a moment, he just stared at me. Then, with a whisper, "I love you, Emily." The words froze me. Stunned me. Shook me. I felt my heart explode with warmth. With light. With everything I had been holding back. "I love you too," I whispered. The world blurred. The stars, the lake, the night. All I felt was him. His hand in mine. His eyes locked on me. And then, slowly, he leaned forward. I met him halfway. Our lips touched. Soft. Gentle. But full of everything we hadn't said. It wasn't just a kiss. It was a promise. A beginning. A forever. When we pulled back, he smiled. The kind of smile that steals your breath. Emily, he whispered. I never thought this would be possible. But you've made me believe again. I touched his cheek. You don't have to believe alone anymore. I'm with you. That night, as we said goodbye, I realized something. We weren't just two people anymore. We were one story. One love. One future. And no matter what the world thought, I knew one thing for sure. We were meant to be. I knew it was coming. The questions. The doubts. The whispers behind my back. It started with my mom. We were in the kitchen. She was chopping vegetables. I was smiling at my phone. Who are you texting? She asked. Daniel, I said, without thinking. The knife stopped. Her eyes lifted slowly. Daniel? The one, in the wheelchair? I nodded. Proud. Her lips pressed into a thin line. She didn't say anything. But silence speaks louder than words. That night at dinner, my dad asked. So, Emily, this Daniel. What's he like? My heart jumped. I smiled. He's kind. He's smart. He makes me laugh. He makes me feel safe. My dad frowned. But life with someone like that. Don't you think it will be difficult? My fork clattered. Difficult? I whispered. Not because of him, Dad said. Because of reality. The world is not easy. There will be challenges. Do you really want that? I wanted to scream. To shout that love isn't about easy. It's about real. It's about true. Instead, I whispered. Yes. I do. My mom sighed. Her voice soft. Emily, we just don't want you to suffer. Tears burned my eyes. Then trust me. Trust my heart. Later that night, I texted Daniel. My family doesn't understand. He replied instantly. They don't have to. Not yet. Love isn't about everyone else. It's about us. I smiled through tears. Because he was right. But deep inside, I wondered. Would my family ever accept him? Love is strong. But life tests you. It happened on a rainy night. Daniel had a doctor's appointment. I went with him. Holding his hand. Keeping him calm. But when we left, his chair got stuck. The wheels spun in the mud. He struggled. I tried to push. Rain poured. Mud splashed. People stared. Look at them, someone whispered. So sad. My heart broke. Not from the mud. Not from the struggle. But from the pity. Daniel's jaw tightened. Emily, let go, he muttered. No, I've got you. Let go, he snapped. I froze. His voice was sharp. Sharp like glass. We managed to get him free. But the silence after was louder than thunder. At his apartment, I tried to talk. He pulled away. I can't do this to you, he said. His voice cracked. You deserve better. Better? I whispered. There is no better than you. He shook his head. Emily, this is my life. Struggles. Accidents. Pain. I don't want you trapped in it. Tears spilled down my cheeks. You're not trapping me. You're freeing me. Don't you see? You are my choice. But he turned away. I love you too much to ruin your life. That night, I cried. Cried until my pillow was soaked. Cried until my chest ached. Because love was supposed to be enough. But was it? Chapter 10, Love Without Limits. Days passed. Heavy. Silent. Empty. Daniel avoided me. No texts. No calls. Nothing. But I refused to give up. Because love doesn't quit. Not when it's real. One evening, I went to the lake. Our lake. The place where it all began. And there he was. Sitting in his chair. Staring at the water. Rain falling softly. Daniel, I whispered. He turned. His eyes widened. Emily, why are you here? Because this is where we started, I said. And I'm not ending it here. He shook his head. I told you. I can't drag you into my world. I stepped closer. My voice trembling. You're not dragging me. I'm running to you. Tears filled his eyes. Emily. I knelt in front of him. Rain soaking my hair. My hands on his. Listen to me. Love is not about walking the same path. It's about holding hands. No matter how hard the path is. His lips trembled. Do you really want this life? The struggles? The stairs? I smiled through tears. I don't want life without you. For a long moment. He just stared at me. The rain falling. The lake shimmering. The world holding its breath. And then. He broke. He pulled me into his arms. Held me tighter than ever before. I love you, Emily, he whispered. And I'll never let you go again. That night, under the rain. We kissed. Not just a kiss of love. A kiss of survival. Of forever. Weeks later. I brought him home. To my parents. Their eyes widened. But then. They saw us. Really saw us. The way he looked at me. The way I held his hand. The way love shone between us. And slowly. Their resistance melted. Life wasn't easy. There were struggles. There were tears. But there was also laughter. Joy. And love without limits. Because true love isn't perfect. It isn't easy. It's real. And Daniel and I? We were real. We were forever. Love doesn't need legs to stand. It needs hearts willing to stay. And ours did. Thank you for watching this emotional love story on the Love Chapter by Aree. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heart-touching stories. Tell us in the comments which country or place you are watching from. We'd love to know where our family of viewers is growing around the world.